I'm Rich.
This is Jermaine.
And this is BDE Street. So, we are pretty much over our cold, sort of, kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, we still have this,
residual
smoker's cough situation going on. But, all in all, I feel like we're in a much better place. I feel like we don't sound as bad as we did. I will definitely admit that the last X's and O's we did on Sunday, definitely not our shiniest of moments. We were, just trying to kind of get through it and, but, definitely. So, one real quick thing. So I enjoy being sick because the after effect of it, right? So you get that euphoria of everything is beautiful and wonderful and everybody loves everybody the day after you're not sick.
Okay.
We're still not able to have that because we still have this little annoying cough, and I feel like it's going to lead into another sickness, and we're just not going to enjoy that.
So you enjoy being sick because it makes you appreciate when you're better?
Yeah.
Sort of like the sunny day. Like, if every day was a sunny day, then what's a sunny day? So You have to have the rainy days to appreciate the sunny days, that type thing?
Yeah, which is lovely for the first day. Then day 2, I'm like, fuck this life. So, yeah, I wish I could, maintain that good roller coaster, but it just doesn't happen. But, all right, so what do you got for me here? What are we yapping about?
I mean, you sat there and said you appreciate being sick. So, I mean, name a time, or what's the sickest you probably ever been, or even one of the most sickest moments you can recall, and how long did that last?
All right, so I feel like what we need to start doing on this show is running some kind of disclaimers. I'm quite sure Jermaine got a poop fetish. It's I don't know, it's a little weird. He tries to institute it every show. I don't know. So here's my disclaimer. So this was 5-6 years ago, something like that. I don't know. So I made hot sausage, right?
Okay.
And just little hot sausage Sammys, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and assume, based on hindsight, that they weren't done fully.
It wasn't like the sausage was sour or anything like that, or was it bad meat, or you just think that you didn't cook it good enough for?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. I didn't really evaluate all those options, but those very well could be options.
Yeah.
So.
Holy.
Oh yeah, it gets.
I'm getting bubble guts just thinking about it.
See, I told you that's his token fucking shit thing. I swear to God, this guy a fucking diaper. So ate it. Everything was cool, and I think I was playing. I think I was just at the house with the now ex. I think I was just playing Destiny or not that, or it was the Division. I was playing the Division, right?
Okay,
fun little game. And I was like, I don't feel great. And I was like, because I'm a either I'm a child or a dog. I thought the most logical thing is, hey, let's go make yourself throw up.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into the inner workings of, I love how that's my line in the sand, the throw up thing. So I went and did that. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll be okay. About 5 minutes later, I'm like, maybe we should do it again. Let's go round 2 that.
Yeah.
And did that. And as I was doing that, I started to throw up from another place. And so
human centipede.
Yeah. Oh God. Go to fucking timeout. Jesus Christ. So at that point, once that happens, you get real worried real quick. You're like,
Ooh.
this isn't good.
Yeah.
So I may have yelled for the ex. I was like, hey, can you come here? I may have shit on the carpet. So that happened.
Oh.
But that's not even where it gets bad.
Oh, for real? We're not even halfway into it.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
It gets
no.
worse.
Yeah. So then I actually do fit, all joking aside, I do actually start getting concerned because I can't stop like both ending it here. And just from a physiological standpoint, you're like slowly dehydrating yourself.
Yeah. Too many fluids is coming out of you at one time.
Right. Gross. Somehow or another, that's the thing that gave me the visual. So thank you for that. It felt like somebody was squeezing a sponge.
Okay.
Golly. But so I'm like, okay, I can't keep shitting on the rug here. It's just disrespectful. So I then get in the shower. But at this point, I'm like weak. And I can't really stand. Because it almost feels like things are shutting down. So I'm standing in the shower, bent over like L. I'm just like a standing L at this point.
Dang.
Just like I'm shivering and shaking, and things are coming out of my face hole, and I am just getting lift off from the other end. Like I'm getting distance. Like really, if I wasn't so fucking sick, I'd be impressed because there was an upward trajectory. I'm like, this is amazing. But yeah, once that happened in the shower, man, I literally had her call the ambulance, and
That's what I was saying. Did it get so bad that you had to call in go to the hospital or something like that? Wow.
and
I thought this conversation was going to end with lots of Pedialyte that you had to drink to get your nutrients back.
No, so we went there, and honest to God, I feel like the paramedics were almost like mocking me. I'm like,
They were in there cracking up. I'm gonna let you know if you had any inkling that they were laughing, yes, they were.
yeah,
Because if I was a paramedic, I would be cracking up as well.
which I get it. I mean, it's in. Actually, I don't get it. Fuck you. Don't be a dick. Because this person is in like a time of need. It's like there is a certain level of fear where like you're sitting there shaking and you can't stop. Like I couldn't hold down water.
Yeah. It's like Chappelle when he was like in the 1800s. He said if you had diarrhea, they put you out to pasture. Like, oh. He said there wasn't no medicine or no Pepto-Bismol or nothing. It was just like,
what the fuck does that have to do with anything I'm saying?
If you're diarrheaing like crazy,
What, are they just gonna fucking shoot me?
they was just gonna throw you off to the side like he's gonna die.
Well, thank God it wasn't the 1800s. Thank you for your fucking diatribe there. But no, so we got to the hospital and they're just like, oh, you just probably have the flu. I'm like, fucking probably? Like, could you maybe...
They just dismissed you like that?
Right, because it was like 1 a.m. at this point. Like this whole...
they're overworked.
This whole shenanigan started at like 8 at night.
5 hours of shitting and throwing up.
Because like I just didn't. I was like, no, I don't have to go anywhere. It's fine. But like after I could barely really like move and I was just shaking.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing to kind of. And then she started crying. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like that's the thing that kind of clicked me over.
Yeah.
But so they gave me something. I don't even remember what it was. Went home. Went to bed. Next few days, every fart was a fucking adventure. Definitely shit on a few sheets.
You had to govern each fart from there on.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a pretty. I know it's a pretty kind of grotesque story, but yeah, that was probably the sickest that, and I had mono for like a month when I was 18.
Oh, really?
That thing sucked.
I know. I always heard about that
Tiff
going
can
through high school, but
Tiff
I
can
never
tell you
had
about
it.
that because I had it when we first kind of moved into our first house. You can, she can probably fill you into more details because I don't remember enough. But
That's all to say. What is the symptoms of that? Is that like a sore throat or a
dude,
sore throat from hell? Or?
I had a headache every single day. I don't really remember much else. I think that was probably some of the symptoms too of just not being able to remember some things. So, yeah, I do remember like there were times where like I was huddled into like the corner, like some kind of fucking gremlin. So, yeah, that was the sickest I ever was, man. That was good fucking memory. Thanks.
Well, I mean,
yeah, follow that.
I'm gonna follow yours. Mine is similar.
Of course,
you know that. I mean, but the timing of mine is crazy. So, this is probably when I was maybe 12, 13 years old. And this was maybe early 90s or even late 80s. But it was right around the time, right around that time, the HIV AIDS awareness was really huge at that time. And also, like I said, I'm 13 and I lost my virginity at 11 years old. So it's one of those things where when you lose your virginity at 11, it's probably not with the love of your life. It's not with a, girlfriend. It's some type of...
If you're 11, it should have been through a fucking teddy bear.
No. It was like, we would have... I don't know, it would be the loose girl in the neighborhood, that type thing. And definitely had sex with this loose person. And then I want to say, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later, I got really, really sick. I'm talking like diarrhea to the point where, like I said, I couldn't hold anything down. It was like one of those things where if I drank some water,
right,
I would throw up the water. And it was coming up both ends as well. Like it's coming out my mouth and it's coming out the other end. And to the point where I couldn't even sit without, having an accident, to the point where, and this is when my brothers and them will always tease me growing up in Alacopa. It got so bad that my mom made me sit. If I was in the living room or watching TV, I had to sit on a bucket. And in case anything came out, I'm sitting on this bucket and I would just pull my pants down or go into a corner and go because I couldn't make it to the bathroom. That's how bad it was. But my brothers, they turned it around where they were like, that's because you slept with the loose girl in the hood. And they tried to make it seem like as if I had some type of HIV or I had some type of illness because of sleeping with her. And of course, if you hear you're crazy 100 times, after maybe the 50th time, you're going to start believing you might be crazy. So after hearing this over and over and over again, like, oh man, you got AIDS or you got HIV. I'm like, maybe I do. But it was just one of them sicknesses that lasted. It probably lasted like a week and a half, maybe. Jesus. I mean, it was like I didn't go to school the whole 9, and it was like I still to this day don't know what it was. I didn't go as far as going to the hospital.
Stomach flu.
But honestly, that long? Wouldn't that last
flu.
only like a couple days?
Dude, stomach flu's a sumbitch, man.
And I did not go to the hospital because, like I grew up in projects, Alacopa, and not saying that that's an excuse to not go, but it wasn't as easy to get to a hospital. We didn't have a car, so could have called the ambulance, but I don't know. It was just one of those things where, you know how men tell each other when they don't go to the hospital, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. And then after 2 weeks, If you'll be all right, you still got the problem, then you got to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the sickest I can recall, being at a very young age, but then compounded with thinking I had a serious disease or a sexually transmitted disease. That kind of took me over the edge. So I'll never forget that. Never.
Yeah. Those are real kind of similar. Well, not similar, but...
Well, I mean, both the same symptoms.
Yeah,
Doing the same
fair.
thing. Yours was food poisoning. Mine was, I don't know what it was. It was just... I don't know. So what we got going on with, the latest with the, with our... Last time we talked about upping, the production.
Oh,
and we got, some more things down the pipe. So,
yeah, we do.
What's going on?
So, we're still not using the correct recording equipment. We're going to actually dabble with that on Sunday.
Real fancy.
Yeah, it is all kinds of fancy. And funny enough, what we're going to start doing here is, because we did finally fix the YouTube situation, so our stuff is all on YouTube and uploading whenever we upload, so that's good. So what we're going to actually start doing is doing a few kind of little video, kind of 2-3 minute things throughout the week to kind of just get buzz and kind of just maybe show you kind of what our process is, I guess, is the best way to put it. Show the new stuff that we have, and just give you my birthday was last week, and Timothy of York, he purchased us a pretty fancy
Timothy of York. That sounded like you were like calling him a knight or Sir Timothy of York.
Well, motherfucker spent money on me, so he'll be
Sir Timothy
he'll
of
be
York.
whatever he wants to be there. He gets a title. But yeah, he got us a pretty cool gift for the birthday, and we're gonna kind of show that off. And look, I can't not recognize the wife for dropping all the monies on the actual equipment and getting us more organized, so we look like we know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah. You're gonna get a chance to see these ugly mugs. Well,
yeah, you are.
I don't know about him, but I know I'm an ugly guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know. I'm over here in booty shorts, so but once again, the newest arrival is Kev doing the graphics, and we always have Will doing the music. So
excellent.
It's a really good segue.
And you too out there as well. We appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
Skiz, DH.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, and everyone that listens and actually participates, yeah, it actually does matter. I know that's like the MO for like all the podcasters, and I'm not built that way. I don't give a shit about saying nice things just to say nice things. If those things do
Warrant themselves,
right, like it doesn't. It's not just a token thing to say to people. That's not how I operate.
Yeah, we're not into just giving shout outs just to give them out.
So it's one of those things where I think it's a real exciting kind of transition here, because we're going from the startup to like, okay, we kind of streamlined this process a little bit into a quicker, like, okay, we're still green and rookies, but I think honestly we are learning
as we go. We're moving into phases. We're into kind of like a transition from a phase 1-ish to a 1.5, almost 2-ish. Like we're moving. We're moving.
So
evolving.
And another kind of evolution here too is we're working on and getting guests lined up here, and we're working with their schedules to get things figured out, and that's going to be coming sooner than later, which is just a super crazy, exciting thing that people want to interact, and that's, I think that's the important thing about this whole idea that we kind of came out with, where
that was the intent to begin with,
right?
Yeah.
It like let's institute communication and conversation and fun stuff and real stuff, and just look. I think for a long time running, people have been pretty bad at being people with people.
Well, I think that there's always been a group or a certain development team or writing team that sat in the room over here that didn't speak to, the performers, so to speak, right. And they would be fed, spoon-fed material and just would read it out. And then this is not really their thoughts. It's a development team or a content team in a room somewhere telling them what to say, and they say it as if they're puppets. No, these are organic thoughts that are from our head. We don't have a separate development team or a writing team. We are the team. It's coming from the crates inside of our brain, digging in the crates.
Look, without like divulging too much info, because I don't want anyone that potentially is listening to this that could be a guest to kind of feel like, I don't want anyone to out how this happened, but literally I was having a Twitter conversation while I was in the shower, and I just was like, fuck it, let's shoot my shot here.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling pretty good that it's going to pull off a guest, and that guest can absolutely, skyrocket, viewership, but not for nothing. It's going to be a pretty cool, actual conversation. So, probably more for me than Jermaine, but, hey, is what it is. But, oh, geez, I had somewhere to go with that, and I don't know what it was.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things where you got, you're going to bring in, that person and their, maybe followers or listeners, and, it just becomes a,
it's a cool networking thing. It was kind of like an unintentional No, I can't even say it was an unintentional intentional thing. It was just like an unintentional thing. Like, I told this person a comment that happened, and it just absolutely sparked this real cool conversation. And it's like, well, hell, man, why don't we just link up, and why don't we tell more people this story? Because I'm actually interested and intrigued, and I feel like the people listen would be intrigued as well. So, so when we tell you stuff's organic, it's not just on the show. It's just random shit that happens in the daily lives. That's kind of the foundation of this thing. But I think the important thing is we have that strong foundation of this is built on randomness and camaraderie and friendship and love and all those great things. And what we want to do is we want to bring really good content for you folks. We don't want to... And if you've noticed, and I know we mention this sometimes too, but I think it's, we're not trying to suck our own dicks or anything, but I think it's one of those cool things where you can really kind of look back at our initial startup, and you're like, yeah, man, these guys really were kind of just shooting from the hip and just kind of
hipping it out,
just kind of going that way, and then eventually got to the point, I think now, where it's just very smooth. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a pretentious thing to say, but just the confidence, and just like with anything, I mean, you get more confidence, you feel better, you sound better, all that jazz.
Yeah.
And I just think considerably, I mean, we will have our mistakes, but considerably speaking, from the first, 5 weeks ago,
yeah,
till now, it's like, yeah, we kind of sound like we know what the fuck we're doing a little bit. And we have some semblance of an idea of the topics we want to talk about, and we're not just shooting from the hip here.
Okay, to pivot to something different, I mean, not totally different. On the way over here, I caught the Charlie. And as I'm catching the Charlie, it's coming from downtown Pittsburgh. And as I'm coming here, the Charlie's filled with Pirates fans. And... as well as I know.
Oh, okay.
Pirate fans, Pirates are doing pretty well, or they were doing pretty well. They lost like 7 in a row.
Let's not talk about it.
Okay, let's just keep moving on.
Yeah.
So, as I was thinking, I'm looking at these people, and, you got people that are dressed to the T's, and you got people that are, very passionate. And I myself, I'm along on that train, but I don't know as much about baseball as I know about football. And I don't know as much as about hockey as I know about, football as well. But whenever the teams are doing well, I'm very supportive, so on and so forth. And then the Steelers, I'm very diehard. So it just made me just think to myself, like, why are we so passionate as fans when we're not getting a fucking dime, so to speak? So it's like, I remember I've had this conversation where this is when when you're arguing with someone that is not a Steeler fan. Like, you got those Cowboy fans, and you got those people that are like, I myself don't understand how you could be from a certain city and root for another city. I don't really understand the logic. Now, if you lived in this city, or if you're from Dallas and you happen to move to Pittsburgh, that's one thing. You have a loyalty to your team. But if you live in Pittsburgh and you've always lived in Pittsburgh and you're somehow a Cowboys or I don't say Ravens fan, and I don't understand your logic, but fair. I'm just saying to myself, like, why are we so passionate?
It's a weird thing to live in like a rivalry city and be like a rivals.
People do it. I've been to bars where it would be the week we are playing the Ravens, and they come in with their Ray Lewis jersey on, with the hat, the whole nine. I'm like, are you serious?
So why are we so passionate about sports?
Like, we don't get anything from it. But meanwhile,
now, are you saying just as people, or why are like locally, like we as Pittsburgh people?
No, just any sports city. Like, I mean, because you've heard the stories where people have gotten into it with another fan, and people even got assaulted. Some maybe even killed over a team that gives you nothing. Like, I don't.
95% of that is because
alcohol.
So
absolutely.
But
still,
so all right, lead in. So do you want me to answer? You want to lead in?
I'm gonna let you start with the answer. Like, what do you think?
So I got a bunch of different theories because I don't have shit else to do in my life, but think of things, which actually just reminded me of what I was gonna say before, and I'll go into that after this because I'm super good at thinking at 1 a.m. So there's a bunch of different things, man. So I'm not really going to I don't think like the personalized things really matter too much. But I'm going to go very generalized. So I think sometimes people, it is like a weird genetic thing that gets passed down.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
You know, my dad watched it, and he still watches it, and I watch it.
Or every little memory you had, you remember just waving your little hand and
right. Okay. I mean, there are circumstances here too where my dad used to watch it with dad, and now dad's dead, and I watch it in memory of him, or it's a bond that we have that I want to keep going on with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just vicariously living through that team because you couldn't fucking make it because you weren't good at shit when you were younger.
That's usually the sport. Remember, we talked about before, people tend to like the sport that they actually played the most.
Right.
So,
and there's another one there right there too.
Yeah. So for me, football was the sport that I was the best at. Yeah. And of course, that's the sport that I love the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there's like a gladiatorial thing to it too. I mean, it's kind of like a car crash, right? Like you're driving down the road, you see a car crash, you're rubbernecking. You hope no one's hurt, but you're also like, I don't want to miss it if they are. Like, I want to see what happens. Like,
you equated a sports fan to a car wreck?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The Pirates have been equated to a fucking car wreck for the last 20 years.
Something. Yeah.
You need a fucking.
you said a snare drum like.
Yeah. See,
okay,
I'm gonna have to get one of those little sounds to fucking do that. That would be perfect. Anyway, but I think it's one of those things where because sports are inherently violent, right? And you want to see. You don't watch football necessarily for the I mean, I guess you do for like the highlight runs, the highlight plays. But you know what's real cool? you see that wide out, that slot receiver going through the middle, and you get that strong safety. It's like, I'm gonna fucking destroy your vertebrae.
And you like watching him risk it all to play this sport in front of your eyes.
Right. Like, this guy tried to catch a 15-yard pass. Now he just eats pudding. Now. And his dick don't work right. So
but he got paid handsomely to do it.
He got paid immense amounts of money. So I think, like, some people look at it from like a role model, a localized hero. Like, there's always cool stories. God knows Pittsburgh loves their fucking stories.
Yeah.
But
do you think it can sometimes be out of in inclusivity or whatever?
Yeah.
Like wanting to be included. Like, I'm
Mob
pretty
mentality.
sure there are guys out there that probably really don't like too many sports, but they keep up with them just
like
so they
the
can carry a conversation.
They like the experience of
with
it.
the office,
Right.
with the water cooler talk. You want to at least know the score from last night's game, so that way you can have input and you don't look
Right.
like a total nerd or whatever you want to call it.
Right. I mean, personally speaking, I'm a football, I'm a baseball, and I'm a hockey fella.
Yeah.
Basketball can go fuck itself. I don't care.
Do you think basketball has anything to do with there not being a professional team in Pittsburgh?
I would say that.
Well, there's Pitt basketball though too. Basketball's okay.
It's just never like appealed to me,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those things where I feel like it's. I wouldn't say it's boring. It's just.
It's too repetitive to me.
But what sport is it? I mean, let's.
Well,
be honest.
you're true. But, like, okay, think about the scores. Like, out of all the sports, who scores the most? The basketball game. It's like,
Yeah, fair.
Like, I mean, how? But that's the only thing that I have against baseball
That's
is
an interesting little.
who scores the most. And, like, I mean, in hockey, each score is critical. Football, each score is critical. Baseball, each score is critical. The only thing I have against baseball is how excited can you truly get about. Just think about the Pirates in their situation. We thought 2 weeks ago, everybody was walking around with the biggest Pirates dick in the world because everybody thought, the Pirates were great. We were 20 and whatever.
Yeah.
Now the table, it's like you can't get too excited because there's 162 fucking games, which is ridiculous. So you can't get too high and you can't get too low. Even though they lost all 7 in a row, you can't get too down because they got so many more to go.
That's a good point, man. I mean, and I think one thing is interesting about, let's not really focus too much on the local teams because I will literally do that this whole time. Yeah. Unless you guys really want to dedicate a show to that. And look, I'm all in. Let's go, baby. But we are so fucking starved for
we are
baseball.
the Detroit Lions of the MLB.
Like,
so
we are so starved for baseball success that when we saw sustainable success, we got
the whole city was buzzing,
and you love to see it. And
Yeah.
once again, that kind of goes along with. I mean, do you think insert store name here gives a shit about the Pirates? Probably not. But if they're based out of the city, they're like, yeah, man, let's fucking go. I'm balls deep. Let's
ride this wave.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's the ebbs and flow of the season. That's a good point. $1.62, but I think it's harder for this fan base because we have been hurt so bad for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like, you see this, you're like, fuck, don't do this. It's like, because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. My dick just fell off. What happened?
Yeah.
It's like, this wasn't, no. Can I put it, like, it's a tough thing.
You got some good points, but you said some of it's inherited.
Yeah.
Or.
But, like, personally, if we just go the personal route.
Okay.
I enjoy all 3 sports. I enjoy the 3 sports. I enjoy hockey. I've been watching hockey since I've been a young bull. Same with baseball. Same with football.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where the more you watch it, the more you learn, the more you enjoy it. And just based on how your brain works and how the synapses go and all that medical shit that the wife can tell you about. But long story short, it's just one of those, I like my sports because I like my sports. I like to bet on my sports. I like to watch my sports. I like to do the fancy on the sports. It's just, it is a part of, it is a hobby.
Regardless if you're getting paid or
Right.
anything from it.
Right. And
It's a hobby.
right. It's a hobby. It's something I enjoy. And, you know, you don't need to be passionate about your hometown team, but you're kind of like a pariah if you're not. You're almost like, what?
I mean, I
wrong
brought
with
that
you?
up because I'm actually guilty of not rooting for the hometown up until a certain age, until I got old enough to even recognize. Because,
Okay.
don't get me wrong, my first love, my first team, NFL team, was the Chicago Bears. But I was a victim of just success because it was the 85 Bears. You got to understand.
Right, okay.
I was born in 78. I'm old. I was born in 78. And the first recollection I can remember of a good football team was the 85 Bears, the legendary 85 Bears. So I was a Chicago Bears fan up until, I want to say, maybe 7th or 8th grade. And it just so happens that I switched over when the Steelers start getting good. It was like one of those things where we got past the Mark Malone and the Bubby Brister days, and then insert Neil O'Donnell.
That just made Bob happy because if you like whatever you mentioned that before, you threw me a text about that. So I'm sure I'll be getting another text about that. It's funny.
About what?
About the old school Steelers. Just
Yeah,
name dropping.
it was
It's
just like, I mean, insert Neil O'Donnell, insert Cordell / Stewart,
Yep.
and, you know, by the time I reached high school...
Sir Bill Kerr.
Yeah, by the time I reached high school, 95, 96, the Steelers were going to the Super Bowl, and they
Right.
lost to Dallas with the stupid Neil O'Donnell throwing the two
Right.
picks to Larry Brown. Like, I was fully invested 100% from that point on. You could have never even seen an inkling of me being a Chicago Bears fan. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's the passion. It's the almost representation.
Right.
It's almost like, okay, it's your city versus this other city.
It's you against
and
the world.
they are representing you and all of your struggles you're going through.
Good versus
Even
evil.
though you're not getting a dime from them, it's like, this is me versus the other person. You know what I
Could
mean?
it be something simple as like good versus evil? Like just that, like
Well, then you're implying that the other team's evil.
fuck yeah, fuck that. You sons of bitches.
So the people in Dallas look at Pittsburgh as they're evil, right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's kind of what a rivalry is, though. Yeah.
I don't know about evil.
I mean, but if you just kind of just go like, just kind of go.
It's the opponent in the way.
Yeah, but it's the enemy, and the enemy. Obviously, in your head, you are the triumphant victor, and they are the enemy that needs to be defeated.
True.
So,
I mean,
good
enemy is
good versus
opponent, enemy, but I don't want to go as far as good versus evil.
well, I'm not saying like go that deep. I'm just saying just from a black and white kind of perspective.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is some of it why we get so passionate, because it's like we're the good guys, they're the bad
They're
guys.
the bad guys, and they're thinking the same thing.
So you're
And
cool
there's-
with good and bad guys, but not good and evil. That's interesting.
No. not
Are
really.
you sure?
I'm just like, it's an opponent. It's the person in the way of you reaching a success. It's an obstacle in the way. In the road to success, it's a fucking bump in the road, and you have to drive over top of that motherfucker.
So, all right, fair enough. Look, I don't think either one of us are wrong. I think we're both basically saying the same exact thing, just
Pretty
using
much.
just different verbiages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now some people do go a little over the top, little.
Man, we've heard them where somebody disagree with a Steeler fan and they got beat to death in the bathroom somewhere. I mean, that is can you imagine going to jail and when you get to the judge that is sentencing you, after the alcohol wears off and all the passion is gone, and now you're dealing with the circumstances of a dumb decision, how stupid you feel that the judge is telling you you're getting ready to do 10 plus years in the penitentiary because you got too passionate over a team that pays you 0 cents.
Right.
That is just letting it go too far.
Yeah. And I think at a certain point there's probably some mental disorders that can kind of coincide with those decisions too. I don't think now obviously I mean, you know, there is inebriations and things like that and all that. But I think sometimes some of those things,
well, people interpreted things differently. It's like one of those things where that's why I want to jump into the next subject what I was going to talk about.
Well, not before I get mine because I'm going to forget that sumbitch again.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, let's finish this one first.
All right, well, let's go.
Very confused. But
no,
I mean these are real good. Yeah, I mean it's a good topic.
Some people, because, I mean, it's like one of those things. It's Vantage Point. It's one of those things where. Remember I was telling you about that movie called Vantage Point where it was a bomb that happened and there was like 5 different people that interpreted and seen this bomb differently. So, you know, I could slap my hands down on that table right there. And if there's 10 people in the room, there could be 10 different interpretations of me slapping my hand on the table. And it could trigger different things to that person. You know what I mean? So
interesting.
If, you know, somebody's saying, fuck the Steelers. That only to you and to me, that only means, well, fuck you too. You know what I'm saying? And we let it go. But there are certain people that almost take that as, they're saying, fuck your mother. Right. And you're like, what? Right. Yeah, so some people just interpret things differently. And the passion runs high, it peaks and valleys in the passion.
And I love and that's the thing, like, don't get it wrong. I mean, the passion's always great, but you also gotta kind of keep your bearings in check. But yeah, it's a good subject. I mean, that's something we could probably still kind of beat that dead horse on, but
yeah, we could revisit.
Yeah,
because it's one of those things that's just going to keep. It's
like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
we're doing football.
A month or so here, something's going to be dropping here. So
football. Stay tuned.
So yeah, the subject I want to kind of get into was, so one thing I've kind of noticed, I guess, and this is where I kind of went off the rails with what I was going to say, but, you know, with all the support that we're getting with people downloading and literally people buying us, you know, stuff for the podcast, I didn't know where this was going to go when I first started it, or when we first started. So I don't mean to take credit there, but
we know what you mean.
Good, because one of us had to. I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I had a pipe dream. Everyone that starts something has an idea where it's going to go. Like, you have these grandiose things, and by far we're not grandiose and yada yada.
But as we discussed before, it's like, okay, if you just keep talking about it, then it's still an idea. But when you do something about it, it becomes a plan. So it's like one of those
God, that's fucking insightful. I love that. It sounds good. It rolls off the tongue, and it's super true. Like, it's just really, you know, what's the saying? Oh God, what is it? Something bullshit walks. What is that?
What? You talk. No. It's money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Dang, is that thing that old and you done forgot what the hell it is?
No, I forgot because it's 1 in the fucking morning. It's 1 in the morning and it's fucking 4 p.m. for this cocksucker.
I'm about to say it's motherfucking prime suspect time for me.
So, seeing kind of just people buying in, it's almost like an emotional, like, damn, man, like, that's, it's crazy because, like, even, you know, thinking about with how we treat our kid, or not our kid, we don't have a kid, me and Tef, how we treat Will, and, you know, when he first wanted to get into his guitar thing, we're like, all right, well, let's see. And then he kept going at it and going at it. Now this motherfucker has 4 guitars, 3 amps, partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he is balls to the wall and he's goddamn good at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the same kind of here where, you know, obviously a much smaller sample size, but people bought into like, okay, they're serious about this. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, by all means, we aren't shit. But at the same time, I didn't expect, you know, us to be this far along in the process.
And
so
feeling
to
this
speak.
good about it. Like that's the thing too. Like we feel good. Like we
We
feel
felt so good that we did some dumb shit. I mean,
Yeah, we did.
I mean, we thought we were better than Disney Plus. That's how bad we thought that the shit was taking off. But at the same time, it's
also
like,
sub to the Patreon.
that wasn't even a shameless plug. That was just a flat out plug.
Absolutely, because that shit was hilarious. Because yeah, if y'all know, you know. But the whole point of this is, as the weeks have gone on, I've given less shits about my actual job. Now I've hated my job for quite a few years at this point. Just looking to die, generally on a daily basis. But it's a miserable experience. I'm insanely overqualified and whatever. That's a whole conversation for a whole nother day. But
That's a recurring thing.
yes, facts. Absolutely. So it's just a weird kind of transition because I'm so focused and uber focused on what we're doing here, and it feels so much more important to me than what I actually make money off of.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a cool feeling, but it's a dangerous feeling. Because I'm not going to just like up and quit my job. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can't. I
Because
mean,
there is no stability. There is
Right.
no financial stability.
Yeah.
It's an emotional or mental stability.
You know-
it's providing you.
well, you know what would help with the financial security? If people subscribe to me. But no, it's
That was good.
yeah, you're welcome. But no, I mean that's the thing. I can't make a rash decision. I'm fucking 37. I'm a grown ass man. I got kids. I got the wife. You
Yeah.
know, got bills. Yada yada yada.
But as we discussed before, you know, it does. I mean, we record on Wednesdays and we record on Saturdays, and leading up to those days, there is a level of excitement that goes on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna, but you're talking to yourself because remember, we don't really discuss too much,
Right.
You know,
And it's kind of ironic because those days leading up to this, I'm working this job, and I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, this sounds really kind of silly, but this almost feels like what I was supposed to do. Like, I really mean that. I feel like this is something that I don't know, seemingly good at. I enjoy it. I like the business aspect of it. I like the marketing of it. I like the networking. It's fun for me. And I feel like I actually get to utilize skills that I don't get to utilize in my, you know, quote unquote 9 to 5.
no, I mean, I've always, you know, wanted to try to be successful on a you know, a larger scale, but I wasn't quite sure of the avenue. You know, I mean,
Right.
my first coming out of high school, coming from Aliquippa, my first thought was NFL. You know, playing
Is
football.
Aliquippa sponsoring you?
I mean,
We're gonna get the city to
pretty
reach-
much
we're gonna get
it
the city to
defines
reach
my
out to you.
life. I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm
mean,
just
it's-
busting your balls. I just thought it was
It's
funny.
one of those things where it's a small town, but at the same time, it's actually a city, but it's a town. But at the same time, it has defined and shaped my life. I mean, there are people that I know right now that, you know, I'm going to go to the grave knowing from the experiences in Aliquippa. I'm sorry if I continue to mention it, but it's just, I can't get around life without, I
Yeah.
can't get around life just cutting it out because it contributes to so many experiences in my life.
It also helps if you get a quarter per mention.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's
No,
true.
I'm just playing. I ain't getting a dime. But
I know, you're getting a quarter.
now
That's
you're playing words.
That's a
you
dad
are
joke.
sleepy.
No,
You
I'm
dropping
just, I'm
dad
just,
jokes.
I'm just messing with you.
You are.
But-
you are.
I guess I kind of wanted to know, like, is this just a me thing with this? Like, because I've talked to this point before on the podcast and just in general with you, and even with the wife, and it's one of those like, holy shit, man! Like, I'm really like, I'm buying into myself now.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is another reason. I think really what solidified it was the birthday and all the stuff that got bought for the
Yeah.
podcast. That really was like,
I
wow,
noticed
like
that
these,
too. Now it was
these
just like,
people,
like as you were getting the gifts, I was just like, that's what I told you afterwards. Later on at night, I was like, the podcast is like really getting serious because
Right.
all the gifts were kind of geared towards
yeah,
propelling it, going
Yeah.
further. And I was just like, whoa,
yeah.
here we go.
Now I did get a cool, another cool gift. It was a little snack pack from Angelica, my sister-in-law.
Okay.
It was nummy. I liked it. So I wanted to thank her publicly for the treats. But yeah, it really made me like not even just buy into myself more, but just really take a step back and say like, dude, the people around me that love me are really like, we believe in you guys to do this.
I mean,
And we want you to
not
do
as
this.
if I didn't take it serious. It's just that it resonated even harder with me. Where it was just like, man, this is gonna be, the legitimate, business, like what we're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is, it's beyond jokes and hobbies now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's beyond
And what did
two
I say?
assholes on the couch.
And what did I say? I'm like, when I looked at it, I'm like, fuck, this looks like the stuff on YouTube now. Like, it looks like the setup is like what you see people on YouTube, and it's just like, damn, man, like, I don't know. I know this is a little kind of beating the dead horse and kind of going off the rails, but it's, when you kind of get like emotionally invested in something like that, then and you get to take a step back and see people actually care about you, and not even just care about you, but care about what you're doing and see that this is
Your ambitions.
right. This is an
Your
unintentional
desires.
dream that apparently you didn't know that you had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is, have you had any of those similar feelings where you look at your 9 to 5 and you're just like, you feel similar to what I said?
Well, I mean, I haven't had any, of course, my birthday is at the end of this month, so I haven't had any gifts or anything that kind of reassures me of that. But at the same time, I just noticed that the excitement, like I said, leading up to the days of recording, leading up to, just something more to look forward to than the average 9 to 5. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a ray of hope. It's like, hey,
This is kind of like our payday, yeah?
yeah.
Like recording is our payday.
It's a similar feeling.
Nice.
I mean, I would love my bank account to reflect that, but at the
Goddamn
same
right
time,
I would. Well, you know what you could do for that, right?
subscribe to Patreon.
My man. There it is. Boom. 3 shameless plugs. Pay us, bitches.
But at the same time, it gives me something outside of because the only promotion or the only thing you have look forward to at your current place of employment is, are you up for a promotion?
Right.
Have you impressed somebody in the office? Blah, 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 blah. But this
Bag
is
the
something
secretary.
that you started from ground zero, and it's almost like a child that
I
is
was gonna
growing
say,
up.
it's your baby, yeah.
It's your baby. And it's like, if you watch your baby grow up, I mean, who's not more prouder than a parent watching their child, grow up and, accomplish things,
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's a beautiful analogy to put on it because, yeah, I don't know, I just appreciate it. Yeah, I don't want to like harp on it too much, but it was just one of those kind of thoughts that it just kind of was an epiphany a little bit. And I know the wife isn't going to be too happy to hear this, but it's just one of those things. And I don't want her to think I'm going to quit my job or anything. It's just like, shit, man. Like I really want this, and I really, yeah. It's. I never thought that I would have a side hustle, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
That would essentially supersede, and really, funny enough, it's actually made my regular job easier because I'm like, oh, I don't give that many shits anymore. I still
got something to look forward to.
I still knock it out of the park. Like, I'm still very good at what I do.
Yeah.
But any pressures that were kind of seemingly there are just not there. And
well, probably before you just thought to yourself, like,
I also might be happy. That might just actually be what happens. Huh.
But no, whereas before you've had a child, before you watch your baby be born, you had.
Where the fuck is this going?
Remember,
Right.
I just said, watching
what
your
you
baby
said.
growing up. You know what I'm saying? But before the baby was born,
You were fucking.
you were just thinking to yourself. You wouldn't even let me finish my thought. No. But before your baby was born,
Yeah.
that screaming person that you're talking to on the phone, or that asshole you're talking to, the only thing you had to look forward to is another day of that tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now that there's another aspect, or there's another thing to look forward to, that you can easily, well, not easily, but better cope with an unfortunate situation, knowing that there is a dangling carrot of hope in the future. Whereas if the baby wasn't born, then you're just thinking the next day is just going to be a repeat of all this bullshit all over again. You know?
I did my best to follow that. I'm definitely going to have to re-listen to that because I think that I'm quite sure it made sense, but there were a lot of words there. There were a lot of words there that I wasn't saying, so I couldn't follow it as quick as I could.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a re-listen because 1 a.m.
But still, it just provides hope. It just provides a future outside of the one that's just been handed to you that you collect a check for.
Yeah.
And,
I still don't know if that was normal. Like, if that's the normal thought, I definitely think it drives me more. Like, it makes me, not that I had any need to ignite the flame anymore, but, I mean, that just threw gas on it,
Yeah.
Just like, wow, like, I really have had this ratio shift in my head where I still care about my job and care about doing well and care about making money and all that, but I'm just, every day that goes by, every show that goes by, I'm just taking a step away more from it. Like,
you're sick of the bullshit cards that life has dealt. So it's like one of those things where if you're playing spades, you're sick of getting 2 spades and some hearts and some fucking low diamonds. Like, it's time to change up the cards where you got a joker or a deuce or an ace in that shit. So it's like looking forward to a better hand, man. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of took the opportunity by the horns and we just really just kind of threw caution to the wind and gave it a shot. But yeah, anyway, we could probably just yap about that and go on tangents unnecessarily, but
Tangent leading to a tangent.
yeah, right. So I think we're kind of towards the end here. I think we kind of focused on, I don't know. I think we had a few other things we wanted to yap about. We can just kind of do that next show. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, just kind of
look forward to the X's and O's of life. We're recording on Saturday.
Yep.
And pretty much, No topics right now. I mean, of course, we're going to come with the draft. You know, that's a staple of the X's and O's.
Is it? Oh! Guess who we have coming back?
Good old Tiff.
Yeah. She was all sick last draft, and then she was out of town on business for the other one. So
She probably was pissed about last draft, though, because the last draft with the beverages was pretty...
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good one.
That was good. No, she was more pissed about mine because she thinks I took hers, but I don't.
I still can't get over you wanted to go to the commissioner over iced tea. Iced tea and tea is fucking tea.
Do you understand that I forgot about that until you said that?
I forgot about to talk about the Magic City story. God damn, we gotta wait till the next BDE to get the details for that one.
Anyway, yeah. If you have no idea what we're talking about, just look at the last X's and O's. It was on Wednesday. Or no, it was on Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah. X's and O's, episode 5. Tune in.
Yeah. But the socials are in the description, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram. Really, I pay more attention to the Twitter than anything. My kiddo's Instagram is in there.
Twitter and Instagram are the,
yeah,
very, very, very popular platforms at this moment.
We did see...
YouTube is great, of course, always.
YouTube is back and fixed and actually is on there now, so...
You're finally speaking good about them.
Right.
I told you they're going to slap you.
Well, listen, they had to get their shit straight and finally figured it out. So we are starting to finally get some comments coming in, which is appreciated.
Once again, DH and Skids, thank you.
Yep. Absolutely, keep that going. I don't know, you got any parting thoughts here?
I do. My name is Jermaine.
I am Bartholomew. I'm going to be Bartholomew.
What the fuck?
I'm going to be Bartholomew on that. So Tim can't just be the only fancy
Sir Tim of York.
Sir Tim of York.
Sir Bartholomew of the couch.
Bartholomew Pillowsworth. Bartholomew Pillowsworth
of the Love and Sofa.
No. It's Bartholomew Pillowsworth of Dryer Sheeteth. Yeah. No.
He said Dryer Sheeteth.
Dryer Sheeteth. Yes. So no, I'm Rich. That's Jermaine, and this was BD Street. So we will see you guys next Wednesday, and we'll see. Well, we better see you next Saturday too. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, toodaloo-loos, kids.